President Trump says he and Russian leader Vladimir Putin have agreed to start negotiating the end of the war in Ukraine. He says the two could meet face to face in the near future.
We ultimately expect to meet. In fact, we expect that he'll come here and I'll go there. And we're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia. The first time we'll meet in Saudi Arabia, see if we can get something done. But we want to end that war.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand joins us now from the White House with more on this. Natalie, this is a major development. What else did we learn about the president's call with Putin?
Yeah, President Trump described this call as lengthy and productive, and notably, he says he directed members of his national security team to begin negotiations and aimed at ending the war in Ukraine. And Errol, you remember this comes on the heels of the release by Pennsylvania teacher Mark Fogel, who had been detained in a Russian prison for about 3.5 years. The president, when talking about Fogel's release on Tuesday night, hinted that he thought that release could be a first step at better cooperation or relations that could ultimately shape the end of this war. We also know that President Trump spoke to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who posted on X that no one wants peace more than Ukraine. We also know that Vice President J.D. Vance, as you noted, he will be at the Munich Security Conference. He is expected to meet with Zelensky there, as well as Secretary of State Marco Rubio. But NATO defense ministers who are meeting today in Brussels note that they really want Ukraine to have support and a seat at the table in any discussions regarding the future of Ukraine.
And Natalie, a judge yesterday, after intervening, allowed the president's buyout offers for federal workers to resume. And CBS News is learning that right now, mass firings of government employees are underway. Do we know which agencies are affected so far?
Yeah, two big developments on the front of federal employees. As far as the firing of probationary employees, CBS News has confirmed that some notices went out last night to members of the Department of Education, but a lot more to confirm across all of these federal agencies. What we do know is there's been a lot of concern among agency heads, among unions, who worry that probationary employees who may have 1 to 2 years of experience, or, these newer employees could be targeted first in mass firing, since they are newer and there are less legal ties. The FBI Agents Association sent a letter to members of Congress yesterday sounding alarm over, up to 1,000 of its probationary employees, saying that there's been a lot of training, extensive training and background checks invested in these employees, and that they are doing the job. So some agency heads and associations pushing back, saying that these probationary employees are valuable. And I also want to note that CBS News reported this week that the Office of Personnel Management did put out guidance saying that agency heads didn't have to, fire probationary employees in mass, but perhaps look at lower performers. So a lot more developments on this front that we will be learning about today. As far as that buyout plan that you mentioned, the judge who was hearing this case, who had initially paused the deferred resignation offer, he's now saying it can move forward, that the unions that brought that suit lacked the standing to do so. So for now, that is back on, although the offer window has now closed. CBS News has learned more than 65,000 federal employees had accepted that offer, but that is less than half of what the Trump administration had expected to take the offer.
All of those details for us, Natalie, we appreciate it. Thank you.